Every day we hear stories about the economic crisis. We're bombarded with media reports telling us about job losses and people losing their homes. But how is a student supposed to feel in this turbulent atmosphere? This week on Underground Reports, we talked to leading economic journalist Andrew Willis from the Globe and Mail. But first, we talked to students on campus and asked them what they feared most about the economy. Are you worried about the economic slump?
Yes, I definitely am. I'm in fourth year, so I'm graduating this year. So with no jobs being available, I'm really worried about what I'm going to do afterwards. Probably more school, since there's nothing else for me to do.
Very worried. Job prospects are going to be very tough for us, especially class of 2012. It's going to get much worse. I'm pretty scared.
Yeah, partially, but I don't really work, so it doesn't affect me that much. Well, obviously, like with my parents and stuff.
Yeah, I think it will have a big effect on everybody in the next coming year. 6 months.
You know what? I think right now is the best time to be a student. See, the nice thing is that we live in this sort of, I don't want to say prison, but we're sort of like outside of the rest of society, at least our country. So we're not affected by it. We pay the same prices as always. We get all the same services. We don't really get affected.
It hasn't touched me yet. I suppose I'll feel it when I'm done and looking for work, though.
I guess it's frightening, especially because the media is constantly talking about it, which means we're constantly aware of it, and there is kind of no escaping.
Do you have any budgeting tips?
Maybe you can let laundry slip a little bit. Maybe wear clothes twice.
Don't spend unnecessary money. Try to have a certain amount that you want to spend a month and don't go over it.
Always get the second cheapest, because the cheapest would be of too poor quality, but if you get the second cheapest product, you're a small cut above the worst, but you're still saving money.
If you can fix it, it's still good.
Canned foods tend to be pretty cheap. I try to go home as often as possible and bring food back from my house.
I don't know. I don't really save my money that well, so no, not really.
Don't spend money.
Basically, just save as much as you can.
Andrew Willis has been an economic journalist for the Globe and Mail since 1996. He also got a bachelor's degree in English and History from our very own university. We recently interviewed him and asked him how he thought the economic crisis would affect students and Canada as a whole. I'm joined with Andrew Willis, reporter for the Globe and Mail. Andrew also went to Western. How did you enjoy your time there?
Oh, I had a terrific time at Western. 4 wonderful years. Now, I'd like to say that was all because of the classrooms, but it was also because I was part-time at Spoke, and I worked on the student paper, and it was just a wonderful time in my life. Great group of friends, and frankly, it's served me well ever since. The skills I got here, outside the classroom and in the classroom, are they're with me to this day. So it was a terrific school.
So in general, how do you think the economy will affect the media?
Well, there's sort of 2 waves hitting the media at the same time. The first wave, obviously, is this shift away from traditional print journalism and traditional broadcast television, like conventional TV, and into all these electronic mediums. And I actually find that really exciting because it makes media more accessible, and it's great new ways to tell stories. But it's coming at the same time as this horrendous financial wave. Advertising revenues for traditional media are dropping like a rock. And it's a real challenge to all of us. So we're trying to navigate from print onto electronic, in my case, because I'm a newspaper reporter, and we're trying to navigate with far less money than we anticipated having. So I can't lie, it's a very difficult time right now. The exciting thing is, down the road, I think the electronic is going to be a great medium to work in.
What do you think the main dilemmas graduating students are going to have?
The problem I see is the lack of what I would call feeder system. There used to be tons and tons of community newspapers. There used to be a lot of little regional radio stations and little regional TV stations, and most of us got our start that way. I certainly know most of my friends worked in places like Regina and that sort of thing before they got to the Globe and Mail. A lot of those regional plays are gone, and they've closed, and the TV stations are closing. There's just not as many places that employ young people who are keen but don't have that much experience, and that worries me because everybody can have a blog. It's really good to work in a newsroom, in a television newsroom or in a print newsroom for the first part of your career. So that does concern me, as there's just not as many places to start.
And recent bank statistics have shown that 5 of Canada's top banks are actually performing better than expected. Does that give us clues that Canada will come out of this financial problem less bleak?
the guys like me were beating up the Canadian banks a few years ago. Too cautious, not doing enough in the States, not being aggressive enough in the Wall Street market. I'm eating those words right now. Canada's banks are now among the best in the globe. They're well capitalized, they're doing well. They're not laying off to a surprising extent. They're actually hiring people, opening new branches. We're really well served by those banks. So my apologies for telling you guys to expand, and I commend them for being a little bit cautious and a little bit Canadian. It's Australia and Canada that are going to emerge from this with relatively strong financial systems, and the thinking now is England and America will end up with Canadian-style banking. A little more regulated, a lot less adventurous, but a lot more stable.
Remember, it's now the perfect time to do internships, masters, or even travel abroad. So watch those pennies, go to the cheaper bars, and stick to canned foods. I'm Sophia Thompson, reporting for the Underground Report, and let's hope the economic situation sorts itself out soon.